Kasi itong si Shia LaBeouf ay siya yung gaganap ngayon sa isang movie na inaabangan nating mga Katoliko na Padre Pio. Siya yung gaganap na Young Padre Pio, si Shia LaBeouf. Hello mga ka-faith, my name is Brother Adrian Milag and welcome again to my vlog. At kung first time mo dito sa aking YouTube channel, make sure na mag-subscribe ka at click mo yung notification bell button sa baba ng video na to para lagi kang updated sa mga bagong vlog na gagawin ko. And today mga ka-faith ay gusto kong gawan ng reaction itong powerful conversion story ng isang Hollywood actor. And I'm sure baka nakita mo na to at na-share na to sa maraming Catholic sites and social media, yung nangyaring conversion ng Hollywood actor na si Shia LaBeouf. According to Google, nung paano i-pronounce yung pangalan niya, Shia LaBeouf, parang Shia LaBeouf, yan. Naging conversion ni Shia LaBeouf from Jewish to became a Catholic. Ito yung binahagi niya sa naging interview ni Bishop Barron sa YouTube channel and sa page ni Bishop Barron kay Shia LaBeouf. Kasi itong si Shia LaBeouf ay siya yung gaganap ngayon sa isang movie na inaabangan nating mga Katoliko na Padre Pio. Siya yung gaganap na Young Padre Pio, si Shia LaBeouf. At kung hindi mo kilala si Shia LaBeouf, itong actor na to, itong Hollywood actor na to ay nasa Transformers siya. Isa siya sa mga actor doon, si Shia LaBeouf. At sobrang powerful yung interview na to ni Bishop Barron sa kanya. Ipoportray niya ngayon si Saint Padre Pio sa upcoming movie about this Franciscan saint. At dito sa interview na to sa ni Bishop Barron, Shia LaBeouf revealed his spiritual journey to Catholicism. And itong 90-minute conversation na to with Bishop Barron, actually they cover multiple topics about prayer, suffering, and traditional Latin Mass. And even yung ego. Siyempre, Hollywood actor siya, at talagang nandyan yung ego niya. Pero itong experience niya na to, sa movie na to, that changed his life, that convert him to Catholicism. Dito ni-reveal ni Shia LaBeouf na he felt suicidal nung bago niya tanggapin yung moving Padre Pio. Talagang nakaka-experience siya ng dark age ng kanyang buhay, ng rock bottom ng kanyang buhay. Actually, nung unang intention niya, bago siya mag-sign dito para gumanap na Padre Pio, dito sa movie na to, is para iligtas yung career niya as a Hollywood actor. Okay? But however, dito na pala magsisimula yung tunay na pagbabago, joy and happiness and true peace sa buhay ni Shia LaBeouf. Parang ginamit ni Lord itong movie na to to draw him to the Catholic faith. Nung nag-sign na siya dito sa movie na to, ano yung sabi ni Shia LaBeouf? Feels miraculous and that Pio saved my life. Amen! Ulitin ko, feels miraculous and that Pio saved my life. Grabe talaga eh. Di ba yung intercession ni Padre Pio? Di ba? Until now talaga ramdam na ramdam natin na parang buhay na buhay pa rin si Padre Pio. I now know that God was using my ego to draw me to Him, drawing me away from the worldly desires. Powerful, yun talaga naging experience niya na gumanap siya dito as Young Padre Pio. And dito rin, dito sa interview na to with Bishop Barron, kung mapapanood mo to, sinabi niya din dito yung naging experience niya about rosary, about Eucharist, and reading St. Augustine's Confession, and studying the traditional Latin Mass, and yung peace na nakuha niya after he reconciled to his mother. Kaya I highly recommend na panoodin po natin itong interview na to with Bishop Barron. Pakikita ko sa inyo, credits sa YouTube channel ni Bishop Barron. Ito yung isa sa mga highlights nung itong naging share ni Shia LaBeouf about his conversion.
I was never an atheist. I was always an agnostic. Even when I was a Sam Harris TED Talk, Christopher Hitchens guy, which is who I was before I fell in. I always had a belief, but I never had like a connection. Latin Mass gave me something where I felt connected, which took me out of belief into connection. Belief kept me, I had belief because that's the rational, logical. It's not logical or rational to be atheist. If you really go deep enough, you get to the Big Bang and then you're screwed again. You have to account for it somehow, which puts you in a belief situation.
Right.
But too much of that logic and too much of that rationale takes me out of feeling, which takes me out of connection.
No, it's a good instinct, because Catholicism, I think part of our genius is we never threw anything out. That we have kind of this all-encompassing thing. You want rationality, man, you got Thomas Aquinas, and he's more rational than anyone in the whole Western tradition. But then that same Thomas Aquinas, who could write in a highly, highly technical way, they say couldn't get through Mass without weeping copiously.
Yeah.
And so that's Catholicism, is that we've got the emotion, we've got the art, we've got the sensible, we've got the intellectual, and it's all there. We never threw anything away, And so, because people are in different places. When I was a young kid, I responded to Aquinas' arguments. That they made a huge difference to me. Wow, that is really rationally compelling. Other people responded in very different ways. I responded differently at different stages of my life. When I got through that, and then other things opened up to me, So I love that we've got this house with all these doors that are open, and whatever door works for you, come on in.
Well, Merton is really interesting because he's a poet, and he speaks really rationally, but his writings are, and he was an atheist. So if you walk in and you were me reading, Seven Story Mountain, he spoke to every part of me. He was a big deal for me. Him and...
he was for me too.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you had read, so you read the Seven Story Mountain.
It was sort of required if you were going to play Pio, I was told. He was a big deal.
Very interesting.
Yeah, the guys who catechized me, all the guys at San Lorenzo gave me him and Jim Townsend. Jim Townsend was a Capuchin who formerly was a con man. He was a convict. He had murdered his pregnant wife and then spent 20 years in prison and then spent 35 years in the seminary. Or 35 years in the order.
In the order, yeah.
And he was another invite for a person who felt totally depraved when I walked in. I walked into this, my life was on fire. I was walking out of hell. It wasn't like I willingly came in here on a white horse singing show tunes. I came in here on fire, and I didn't want to be an actor anymore, and my life was a mess, complete mess, and I had hurt a lot of people, and I felt deep shame, deep guilt. I didn't like to go outside much. I had a yearning not to be here anymore. I was on my way out.
Is that where you were when you accepted the role of Padre Pio?
So this is why when you spoke about the role, I wanted to kind of dive in there because it's kind of formative to how this all happened to me. I was willing because pain made me willing to go about this in a different way than I had previously. My opinion about God before this happened, before the pain struck, before my world had crumbled, was art, love, and God, they all mean the same thing. They're synonymous. And as an artist who creates art, I found myself in a godly position often, right? Where I was in charge. And I had also been told my whole life, your life is your life. You have to make with it what you can, You got to be a good guy, and then you got to get married, and then you got to get a house, and you got to get a job and do good at your job, and your life is your life, and things will work out if you put effort in, and it's up to you. And I always really felt that, and it made it hard to believe in God because it felt like my managerial skills are what are going to amount to a fulfilled existence.
Yeah.
When all of my designs failed, when all of my plans went out the window, when my life had led to serious infliction of pain and damage on other people, I threw up my hands like my plans are garbage and I don't want to be here anymore, and that was required to enter Pio. You had to actually, this is why it feels like celestial mathematics or some kind of divine, it feels way too coincidental to be a coincidence. But my life was completely, like I told you, on fire, and I'm in a spiritual program where I go on Zoom and we have meetings, and another person that was in this meeting, who's also part of this same fellowship, of like the down and outs was a man named Abel Ferreira. And he wound up seeing me in the meeting. We shared sensibilities. We had heard each other share a few times. And then he wrote me in the chat box, "Do you know about Padre Pio?" And of course, I didn't know anything about Padre Pio.
This is before the offer of the film. It's
Yeah,
just, okay.
this had been gestating on his side for years because his grandfather comes from the same region in Pietrelcina, and he has a connection to Pio in many different ways. He's not a Catholic, he's a Buddhist, which I always had trouble with as a person who was always self, and now, I'm not gonna get into that conversation, but me and him have wrestled over this many times. And I thought, okay, well, what is this Padre Pio thing? And this is early days in my what now looks like a salvific journey from my side.
Yeah.
I was still egotistical on max. I was still grasping at straws. How do I hold on to what I've lost? How do I build a career again? And so when this director who I respected, I had known he made movies that I really loved. You know, Bad Lieutenant for me is one of the greatest performances ever made. And I know he's an actor's director. And the fact that there was this director reaching out to me, because at this point I'm nuclear. Nobody wants to talk to me, including my mother. The manager's not calling, the agent's not calling. I'm not connected to the business anymore. And so the fact that this man reached out to me felt like something like, in my egoic mind, wow, this is a miracle.
This is my chance to
This is
get
my
back to
chance. This is my chance.
Yeah.
And so my ego shows up. And now I'm like, yeah, well, Padre Pio. And my ego is what makes me research Pio. It's not my Catholicism or my yearnings
So you thought
towards
this would be a
God.
cool role for me to play.
Great, now I can get back on the horse. You
Yeah,
know?
okay.
And so I start researching Pio. And as I'm researching Pio, he tells me about his plans to make a movie, and he tells me that Willem Dafoe is going to be in the movie. And now I'm really in ego. Wait, so I can go from bottom barrel to working with Willem Dafoe? This is my chance, you know, back on the hustle, back on the ego.
Yeah.
And I start leaning into this thing, and he says, well, if you want to do this role, I need you to start researching. Go up and find I need you to go find a seminary, a Catholic
That's when
seminary.
you made your way up to San Lorenzo.
So the closest seminary to me,
Yeah.
living in Pasadena, was San Lorenzo. So
Yeah.
I drive up there, and I park my truck, and I start living in the parking lot.
Patuloy po natin pagdasal itong si Shia LaBeouf as he continues this new chapter for his life bilang isang Katoliko. Dito natin makikita, mga ka-faith, sa naging sharing at naging conversion ni Shia LaBeouf na gumagalaw si Lord kahit kanino. Minsan sa mga taong hindi natin inaasahan na magbabago. Pero God is working on the heart of that person. Kaya nga naalala ko itong naging story ng isang napakayamang businessman. Sobrang yaman. Itong businessman na to ay nagdadasal ng almost 1 hour every single day. Pero siya ay isang KBL Catholic. Alam niyo yung KBL Catholic? Nagsisimba lang tuwing kasal, binyag at libing. Okay? Pero nagdadasal siya 1 oras araw-araw. Hindi ko sinasabi sa inyo na huwag ka na magsimba at maging KBL ka na lang, magdasal ka na sa kwarto mo ng 1 oras. Hindi ganon. Pero ang naging story ng successful businessman na to ay before to mangyari, yung talagang nagdadasal siya at as in every morning, 1 hour, ganun kahaba, ganun katagal. Kasi may nangyari sa company niya, a very successful company, na syempre bilang isang businessman, ikaw yung owner niyan, talagang you will control what you can control. And then what happened na meron nagkaroon ng isang problema sa isang company niya na hindi niya makontrol. Talagang nagbigay sa kanya ng stress, nagbigay sa kanya ng problema sa ulo. Parang it forced him to bend his knees and pray to God. Parang na-realize niya that he cannot macromanage everything. So, ang ginawa niya, he pray to God and he let go. And, alam niyo mga ka-faith, yung ginagawa niya pagdadasal every morning, hindi to alam ng kanya mga kaibigan, kapamilya, and even his employee. Walang nakakaalam nito. Ang alam ng mga kaibigan, kakilala niya, kamag-anak niya, kapamilya niya, mga empleyado niya, ay malayo siya sa Diyos. Pero, hindi nila alam na nagdadasal itong successful businessman na to araw-araw, almost 1 hour. So dito natin makikita mga ka-faith, God is working hindi lang sa simbahan, but He is working everywhere. God is working sa mga lugar na hindi mo inaasahan, sa mga taong hindi mo ine-expect na pwedeng magbago. Amen? Kaya wag po tayong mag-judge sa mga ibang tao na ay hindi na yung magbabago. Ay, may tato. Adik yan. Ay, nakabikini. Ay, siguro, ano yan? Malandi. Yung mga ganun, di ba? I mean, madalas tayong mga simbahan, meron tayong spiritual pride na parang kung hindi natin nakikita yung mga tao nagdadasal, nagro-rosaryo, nagsisimba every Sunday, we became so judgmental, iniisip natin na sobrang layo nila sa Diyos. Pero hindi natin alam kung paano talaga gumagalaw ang Diyos dahil yan nga katulad ni Shia LaBeouf na talagang binago ng Diyos. At kung mapapanood mo itong interview na yan, grabe, sobrang lalim niya na. Talaga ramdam na ramdam mo sa puso niya yung conversion, yung lalim ng pagkakaintindi niya about the Catholic faith from his experience na naramdaman niya. Hindi galing dito galing dito mga ka-faith. Kaya alam nyo mga ka-faith, yung mga conversion ng mga ganitong klaseng tao na sobrang makasalanan then bumalik sa simbahang Katoliko or na-convert sa simbahan, grabe yung story of conversion nila. Talagang buhay na buhay sa kanilang Diyos. Kasi dito talaga nila na-experience yung grace and mercy of God through the Catholic faith. Kaya pag ito na-convert talaga, napunta ng Katoliko, hindi na yan aalis. Kasi ito yung life-changing moment nila eh. Kaya mga ka-faith, kung meron ka mga pinagdadasal na mga kaibigan mo, kapamilya mo, tatay, nanay mo, kapatid mo, or even your spouse, or yung mga anak mo, na iniisip mo parang malayo sila sa Diyos, ay huwag kang hihintong magdasal. Never give up on praying on them. Pray for them every day. Include mo sila sa rosary. Talagang include mo yung intention na yun sa pagdadasal mo ng rosaryo. God will do the rest. Yung mga bagay, yung mga moment, yung mga event na hindi mo ina-expect. Para ka kasi nagtatanim dyan ng seed sa kanilang puso through your prayer. And your prayer is so powerful. Kaya huwag kang hihinto. Huwag kang mapapagod. Na kahit na parang hindi obvious, huwag kang susuko. Dahil gumagalaw dyan ang Diyos. He is touching the lives of that person you are praying. God is speaking to them. God is working through their hearts. Mga moment na hindi mo inaasahan. Okay, so I hope na sobrang na-bless ka at na-inspire ka dito sa ginawa kong content at vlog. At kung sa tingin mo mga ka-faith na sobrang makakatulong to at ma-inspire ang iyong mga kaibigan, kamag-anak, mga loved ones mo dito sa vlog na to, favor naman na i-share mo to sa kanila. Okay, so thank you so much. God bless you more abundant. Hello mga ka-faith, Brother Adrian Milag here. And today I want to promote the devotion to Our Lady of the End Times. Kung di ka familiar sa Our Lady of the End Times, this was painted by Brother Edsol Celestial. Brother Edsol C. Celestial was inspired to paint a portrait of Mary that combines the 7 popular titles of Mary, namely the Immaculate Conception, Our Lady of Mount Carmel, Our Lady of the Holy Rosary, Our Lady of Lourdes, Our Lady of Miraculous Medal, the Immaculate Heart of Mary, Mary Help of Christians. Good news, itong painting na to, the devotion to Our Lady of the End Times, mismo yung painting and the prayer, meron po itong imprimatur by Bishop Geraldo Alminanza. Okay, so if you want to avail this canvas print of the Our Lady of the End Times, ilalagay ko yung link sa taas or sa baba ng video na to. Okay, so thank you and God bless. So that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope na na-bless at na-inspire ka dito sa aking vlog. Make sure na i-like mo at mag-comment ka sa baba ng video na to at mag-subscribe ka sa aking YouTube channel para lagi ka updated sa mga bagong vlog na gagawin ko. At huwag mo din kakalimutan na i-like ang aking page. So this been Adrian Milag, encouraging you to live your life to the fullest. God bless you more abundantly.